So if you saw my previous video, I think it'll link somewhere here. The high school kid that applied for UIUC was pretty dumb. I just based it on US News. And even after I got accepted to UIUC, I didn't visit the school, I didn't do any research about it. I didn't even use Google Maps to see what the school was like. When I got to campus was like the first time I really realized how big the school was. The school is actually huge. It's got like a whole bus system that goes throughout the campus. If you wanted to walk from like one side of the campus to the other, it's like at least 20 minutes walk. So when the college asked me to pick my dorm, I just forgot about it. I got an email from the college saying like, this is the last chance to apply for dorms, otherwise you don't get a dorm. It's like, oh shoot, I should apply. And so I looked at the like last two dorms that were available, FAR and PAR. And these two dorms were in the same area, like they were right next to each other. And the only differences between the two was that one of them had no air conditioning and one of them had air conditioning. And me being a Californian, I was like, how can you not live with air conditioning? So I was like, I'll just choose the one with air conditioning, which was, the acronym for the dorm was FAR. FAR is like a good name for it because it was far from everything on campus. If you look on a map of the campus, this is UIUC, this is how far it is from the main quad. There's like nothing around here. It's just isolated by itself. This is the main, like, where all your classes are. So you have to go from here to here every day. When I first got there, I was like, okay, this is really far from the rest of the campus. But I was like, okay, there's a bus system. All I have to do is rely on the bus and I'll be fine. But that's not how it works. There's only one bus stop for two dorms. So like every morning at like 8:30 or something like that, one bus would come and then two dorms worth of students would be waiting for that one bus to get to the main campus. And if you weren't there on time, like if you weren't in the front of that pack of students, you're not gonna get on that bus. If you see those like videos of like the Tokyo people that push people into the bus or subway, that's like the same thing that had to happen for us for that like every morning's like 8:30 bus. Most of the time, like I wouldn't wake up on time, so I would take the 8:45 or 8:50 bus, and that would just cause me to be late by like 5-10 minutes. So that was my first issue. And then that's only to go to the main campus. So the campus is split into like 3 sections. Like the South Campus, which is like business classes. The main campus, which is like where like math, chemistry, bio, and all that stuff is there. And then an engineering campus, which is the North Campus. So my dorm was below the South Campus, and every day I would have to go to the engineering campus, which was the North Campus. So let me show you how far that is. My 9 a.m. class was at the computer science building, and if you look right here, this is where my dorm is. So that's a 1.2 mile walk. I was like, okay, I need to find a better source of transportation. And luckily, my friend Tyler, shout out Tyler, he had a penny board at the time. And I saw that he was riding his penny board like to and from classes and not taking the bus. And so I asked him how fast it was for him to get from like wherever he is on campus to anywhere else, and he's like, I could get anywhere on campus in like 5 minutes. And I was like, 5 minutes is like insane. So I was deciding between getting a longboard or a bike. The reason I went with a longboard is because it's a lot more portable than a bike. Because I'm out of state, I could take a longboard on my flight back home. I don't have to like figure out shipping or like sell my bike at the end of the year. And also because Illinois is like snowy, I have to deal with rust if I leave it outside. So I was like, it's just a lot easier if I just deal with a longboard than a bike. I got my longboard and it was so easy to ride. I didn't realize that, but the wheels for a longboard are like so much bigger than a skateboard that you could ride over like basically anything except like huge cracks on the road. And also they're a lot softer. So it's like once you push once, you could like ride for a long time. The pros for getting the longboard. The first thing that I liked about getting a longboard is that it only took me 5 minutes to get anywhere on campus. That meant instead of having to wake up really early to make the bus or skipping breakfast to make the bus, I could eat breakfast and make my class on time because I had a longboard. That was a huge plus for me. And then the second thing is it's really exciting to ride a longboard. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday when I had to do that 1 mile ride to the class, because I was like half awake while I was riding, every time I get to class I would have a story of how I almost got hit or like something almost went wrong and I could have like crashed on the longboard. As a longboard, you should be riding on the sidewalk, but you can also ride on the bike lane. So the bike lane is on the road, which is a lot smoother than the sidewalk, and there's less people. So half the time I would be riding on the road. But riding on the road meant that like you have to pay attention to cars a little more because cars can't really see you as well. Like they could barely see bikes. So if you're on a longboard, you're like pretty dangerous. And I don't recommend not wearing a helmet, but I didn't have a helmet. So I was riding down, and then there's like a portion of the road that was like downwards. And then whenever I start going down this hill, I would just be like, if anything happens, if a car like comes swerving by, I have to like jump off. There's no brake stopping me. So every time I rode the longboard, if I'm going like too fast to brake, I would just have that like in the back of my head that like there's no real brake. I just have to figure it out if something happens. So luckily nothing happens. I only fell off the board once, but it was pretty fun. It's like a mini roller coaster every time you go to class. And especially when it's like the main quad where there's like a bunch of people. After class, if you get on your longboard, you could just like weave in between people, and that's pretty fun. It's a little bit dangerous because I did once tackle a person because I didn't see them. They didn't see me, and I couldn't stop at that point. So I like just tackled them on the ground. No one was hurt, but yeah, it's like there is a risk factor, but that risk factor also makes it exciting. So I put it as a pro, but technically it's also a con. The last pro is that it's really portable. Whenever I go to class, I could take it indoors and I just hang it or like lean it against the wall, and then I just pick it up after class. And also I don't have to worry about locking it up because I just take it up to my room and then I can just put it in my closet. So those are the big pros, and so here are the cons. So I could only come up with 2 cons that were like important. So the first con is that it's really heavy. Whenever I'm like walking with friends, I'm just holding like an extra 8-pound longboard whenever I walk, and every time if you're just walking with 8 pounds, it's kind of annoying just walking around. Second thing is that it's a little bit tiring, especially in Illinois, because Illinois is super windy. Unless the wind is directly behind you, if it's coming from you at like the side, it's gonna be annoying because you just feel like you have to push a lot harder to get anywhere. It's just a little more tiring than like riding a bike. So another thing that people might be wondering is that when it snows, can you still ride the longboard? And the answer is yes, you can still ride the longboard, because for the most part, the floors are like swept in the morning, unless it's like snowing in the afternoon where they don't have enough time to clear the roads. The sidewalk and everything else is pretty much clear by the time you wake up, so you can longboard on like slightly damp or wet ground. I've never slipped like because of like a wet ground. You have to be careful of that, but it's nothing to worry about. So if you're in a campus and you need a better transportation than like walking, a longboard is like definitely a go-to. If any of you had like a longboard or a bike, let me know in the comments what it was like, and like this video, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.